Savage. What's going on, Savages? Welcome back to another episode of the Savage Snowflake podcast with me, Jeff Leach. How are you? Look at how loud I am over there. I'm just pointing out to my guest that we just done audio checks and now started shouting again into the microphone. I do it every single time, and you guys always tell me, hey, why don't you not fucking shout at the beginning of your podcast? Well, guess what? You're not my real dad. You don't get to tell me what to do. When you start paying for this fucking thing, then you can start telling me how to live my life. Despite that very aggressive intro, I'm in a very good mood. I've had a really good day. My girlfriend's back in town. I made love last night. I fell asleep watching The Sopranos. Life couldn't be better. It's all going in the right direction. How are you? You guys reach out to me quite a bit now, and I appreciate that. Remember, the DMs are always open on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course, even on SoundCloud. If you're listening to the episodes on SoundCloud or something like that, you can reach out directly there. Thank you very much, of course, to our patrons, like this wonderful man up here. Dan Lloyd is a savage. He's a $35 a month subscriber. If you want to donate as little as $1 a month, you can do that over at patreon.com/SavageSnowflake. Yes, I'm coming in hard with the begs for money because we don't have sponsors anymore because I wanted to remove the adverts for you. Look at how nice I am. But now I need you to be the advertisements. Do it! All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me today is a wonderful comedian, writer, performer, which we originally met in New York City, I believe. Is that true?
Right. Yes, okay. That's correct.
Louie Katz. Now, Louie Katz has done all sorts of great TV stuff. Most recently, you could have seen him on This Is Not Happening on Comedy Central. He's also had a new album that just came out last year, correct?
Yeah. It's called Katskillz.
Katskillz. And then you had a previous one,
yes.
A half-hour Comedy Central special as well.
Comedy Central special, and then an album.
I did my research.
Yeah, thank you. And that was called, the album that accompanied that was called If These Balls Could Talk.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have those balls done much talking?
Oh, they talk.
They talk all the time.
Yeah.
Every night in comedy clubs.
They got a lot to say, man.
What's the best story your balls have got to tell?
Best ball-based story?
Yeah. Well, actually, let's wait. Hang on. Right. Best is such a general term.
Okay.
What's the most terrifying situation your balls have been in?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying situation for my balls? I guess, so those are different stories. I would say, like, anytime when I guess swimming with great white sharks, I guess if a great white shark had bitten my balls off, that would have been terrifying.
That is pretty terrifying.
I'm just trying to think of
why the fuck were you doing that?
I was in a cage, I wasn't like out there swimming, but it was very,
But you were still teabagging your balls beneath the cage.
I was. Right? I was using them. I was chumming the water. You know what I mean? That's what we call it when you dip your balls. Yeah. You're just chumming it up, and but I feel like that was probably the closest. Just like I guess all of me was in danger, but specifically the balls also as well.
I think the idea of being in the vast expanse of the ocean is the most terrifying thing, just in general.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever been plopped into an ocean and had a boat go away?
No. Have you?
Yeah.
Why?
Went out with some.
Why did the boat go away?
We went out with some. People hate me. No, I went on a trip with some friends, and we had like a little sort of an excursion boat. So it wasn't like a big yacht or anything. And it was just rented for the day. But there was a guy, this Greek guy, and he was like, blah, 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 drunk on raki. I can't remember what his fucking name was, but he was a lunatic, like a Greek pirate.
Okay, cool.
And we all jumped off, and me and like two girls and one guy, the four of us jumped off the boat and were splashing around. And the captain was being funny and just oh my god! Just went, okay, have a good time, and drove away. And it was, we could still see it. There was no point where the boat was just gone.
No, but still.
And we're like, oh, we're gonna die. But he just started powering off, and it got very quiet very quickly. And all of a sudden, as soon as there's not anything large next to you, nothing physical that you can climb onto, you realize just how fucking huge what's beneath you is. And I felt like my testicles were just, the dread was just sinking them down like an anchor of fucking misery and fear.
Yeah, man. I was, when have I experienced, well, when I was like 10, I went to Mexico with my family, and we were on a catamaran that just capsized off Mazatlan. And we were just out there. We couldn't get it back up. It was just me, my mom, and my uncle, and I think my sister and my cousin, and we're just out there in the middle of the ocean. And the crazy thing is that Mexico doesn't have a Coast Guard, so a straight up Navy gunboat came and picked us up. Which was pretty intense.
That's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I've experienced that
the craziest thing about that story is the fact that you thought anyone was going to have any kind of sense of empathy for you when you were on a catamaran holiday with your fucking family at 10 years old? What kind of a blessed life did you lead, Louie
I was
Katz?
in Mexico. I don't know if you heard, but it's somewhat affordable. I don't know if you're aware of
fair.
that. Yeah.
Fair. So it wasn't a catamaran. It was just a fucking boat with a couple of boards strapped onto the side of it.
It's a sailboat that my uncle claimed he knew how to sail.
There you
and
go.
Fucking clearly did not.
Hey, do you want to get on the boat?
Yeah.
It was just like one of those.
Yeah, and then it was yeah. So, but I remember there was one time I was in Thailand and I was just when it's like dark, as soon as night falls and there's no lights and the ocean, it's just so black out there. And I remember there was like a little
infinite black.
like what is it?
The infinite black.
Exactly. Yes, like in my heart. And just like there was like a little like lagoon or like a kind of a bay where it's shallow out front of like we were staying on the beach.
Right.
And but when you just wait out there at night and you just can't see anything, it's just black all around you. Like it might as well be forever. You don't know what's there, and it's so creepy. It just really like freaks you out.
So many like of the best horror movies, and I'm not talking like a Jawsy kind of thriller, whatever horror, but I mean like even ones about space that deal with darkness or unknown area or liquids that we don't know. It all comes from our fear of the ocean, I think.
Probably. That's very primal. My friend did he's an artist and he has this drawing of like actually a very tiny guy. And and the rest of the canvas is all the ocean, and it like hits that primal thing, like just looking at this. It's a painting.
Makes you feel uncomfortable just looking at it.
Yeah, you're like, wow.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's just so. Have you ever done this? You ever been in a very large, empty like room, but not like a theater, like an empty room? It kind of gives you the same feeling. It's weird.
What? Just like a warehouse space that's completely empty.
Yeah, it's like you feel very tiny, and it feels weird and very like extra lonely. I don't know. It's trippy.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, I think maybe you got like a mild amount of agoraphobia.
Maybe. I mean, I got a lot of.
I'm alright in big rooms on my own.
I'm just telling you. I'm not saying it freaked me out. I'm saying it got that same like
erection.
Yeah, just hard.
Instantaneously, like I'm scared right now, and my dick is getting super hard.
It just makes me hard. That's what I'm into. Large, empty rooms.
I like it, dude. There was a photograph that I just saw on some Reddit thread that I was, scrolling through. Yes, I am one of those guys, and I saw it was a shark, a giant, whatever, a giant. Would it be a great white? They're the ones that fucking kill people, right, and eat people.
I mean,
they will do.
They're the ones from Jaws, but they're not that bad,
But they're still predators, right?
Yeah, sure.
If they give you a little nudge or a little bite to see what you're like, and they smell a little blood, then they're gonna fucking eat you.
Yeah,
right?
they'll fuck you up.
It was one of those, but it was a great white, so it was huge. It was something like fucking 20 foot long. These motherfuckers grow.
Yeah, they're huge,
big, and they had a photo. These divers had a photo of it, and on the side of this fucking thing, this thing's a fucking monster, right? It's not a whale, but it's a fucking giant shark.
Okay.
And they can go very deep, those giant great whites. And on the side of it, there were, like, all its gills were, like, all torn up. And it had scratches all over the side of its face, like big scratches and shit, and blah, blah, blah. And people on the internet were rightly just like, what fucked this great white shark up, and why do we not know what it is? Because there's things down there, man. There's fucking sea dragons and giant. You think that like giant, the old tales of giant octopuses, coming out of the sea and fucking the Kraken, eating people's ships, like that shit. That they definitely fucking exist.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's probably a killer whale. I'm gonna nerd out on some marine biology shit. You know that actually great white sharks no longer an apex predator because killer whales will fuck up great white sharks, and they work together as teams. They're mammals. They're smarter than them, and they'll fuck them up.
Hang on, hang on. They're not in Apex Legends.
An apex predator is like the one like no one else is eating it. It's the one that eats everybody else.
What's an apex predator?
The top of the food chain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Top of the food chain.
I play a video game called Apex Legends.
Yeah.
It's like a battle royale game, like Fortnite.
And who's going to make it to the top, right?
That's what
it is. Yeah. So,
I didn't even know that's what the name was.
Yeah. So great white sharks were at the top, but they're not anymore because killer whales can eat them.
So you reckon it was a killer whale that fucked? Yeah. Now, how does that explain the lacerations though? Because what a great white
starts chewing on it,
If a killer whale put a fucking great white in its mouth and had a little nibble, it would just crunch right through that fucking thing.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, all right. I'm going to say squid. I'm going to say giant squid.
Giant squid.
Okay, all right.
With little claws on it.
Yeah, they got little claws.
They got little pincers on the end.
Well, I think they're like sucker things like probably like will fuck them up.
Yeah. Or like...
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is where my knowledge of science falls off drastically.
You already impressed me with knowledge of what apex means. I didn't even know what apex means. I did a fucking English degree at university. What a waste of time that was. All right, so tell me how Louie Katz became a comedian. I thought originally you came from New York City, just because that's where we've had most of our interactions, at the Comedy Cellar, and all the best clubs in New York.
Yeah, well, people assume I'm from New York. I think it's just because I'm so Jewy that they assume that I'm a New York person.
I'm ashamed to admit that there's a little truth to that, even when it comes to me. And I'm someone who prides themselves on not making snap judgments based on the aesthetic qualities of a person.
No, it's not.
But you're right. It's very... It's very identifiably a Jewish comic birthplace.
Yeah. And also, I have New York roots. My grandma's from New York, and and then she moved with my dad from Brooklyn to L.A.
But you even sound East Coast.
Yeah, maybe that's because of him. Maybe that's because of being raised by him.
You're like, my grandfather's from New York, and
I wish I had that New York accent. It's so rare that you actually hear the New York accent even in New York. I love when I actually get to hear it.
But you don't sound Cali. You're from California originally, right?
Yeah.
You're not like, hey, dude, what's up?
No.
Louie Katz, bro.
Yeah, but have you met anyone that actually talks like
sugar
that?
nut, my motherfuckers. What's up, dude?
Actually, when you just said that, I was hanging out with someone last night who talks like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Muzzle, bro, muzzle.
Yeah. People actually do talk like that. I don't know. You know what? I bet if you met my whole crew of friends, because I'm still friends with them that I grew up with here, I bet we all talk the same. Now I don't know what that sounds like.
When you get together with them, you do that relapse back to old. Yeah. I do that when I go back to London. I sort of found a video of myself on a TV show from years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, and I sound so Cockney. I'm like, all right, well, welcome to the show today. Blah 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 blah, and then now I don't sound like that, thank God. But
the worst is when like Madonna, or when the celebrity, and I get it happening, but
puts on an English accent.
Yeah, or what's her name? Is doing a New York Jew accent from Russian Doll. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, the actress.
Yeah,
plays,
Natasha Lyonne. Is that her name?
Potentially. She was in Orange Is the New Black as well.
Yes. Yeah. She is doing the heaviest. And I watched that show. I'm like, I've never met anyone in New York who talks like this. It's so extra New York and Jewy. It's like insane. It's almost like
she's meant to be Russian.
No. It's called Russian Doll because it's like about nesting. It's like a metaphor. But I'm just saying. I don't think she and I was like, that's weird that she's putting on that accent for the show. Then I saw her on a late night show. I guess apparently she talks like that all the time. But apparently someone told me she didn't like a few years ago. Like this is a new thing that she came upon this accent. So I don't know. I don't know about that.
Man, you got to start worrying about actors when they do shit like that.
It's weird.
It's like Joaquin Phoenix. Like you get the idea. Go, all right, he went off and suddenly got a bit fat and became a rapper at one point, and was being weird on a show. I know it was for the premise of a movie.
Yeah,
it was a bit for a movie, but there was a part in it where you're like going, I think maybe he's like believing this.
That's what he wants you to think. That's how good he is. He's great.
I think all actors, and I say that very much with personal reflection and self-awareness, all actors are desperately trying to escape themselves or escape their reality.
Wow.
That's part of what being on stage and playing different characters serves as a purpose. You get to be something different. You get to escape your own shit to tell someone else's story, and that's kind of a freeing experience.
Well, that explains why I don't like actors generally.
Why? Because they're desperate to escape themselves.
Yeah, and
aren't comedians too?
I don't think so. Maybe desperate for approval more, but no, it's actually the opposite. A real good comedian should be trying to get closer and closer to who they actually are, and trying to be more honest
in terms of finding their voice.
Yeah,
but by telling our stories on stage, by going into our, the most personal elements of our lives and making them a thing of ridicule, or the saddest parts of our life and making them a thing of ridicule, aren't we therapeutically escaping the serious nature of that thing or the sad nature of that thing by turning it into a thing of comedy?
Yeah, we're escaping it, but we're not escaping it by becoming someone else. We're escaping it hopefully by coming closer to our.
Some comics do though. Some comics literally put on a character on stage.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I'm not. I guess I find actors to be a little bit well, they're dramatic by nature because it is a drama.
Thespian. I like actors. I don't like thespians.
Yeah, they're dramatic. They're phony because that's part of the thing. But I've met actors who I actually really like, and so this is all generalization. But sometimes.
What about you? Have you stretched the acting legs at all?
I've done a little bit of acting, and I can, but it's just not. I hated auditioning, so that kind of like took me out of the.
Really?
Out of that. Yeah, I can do it. And I've done a few decent things. Little videos for my own videos that I've made, or I've done some videos for Giannis Pappas out of New York.
I love Giannis Pappas. Yeah. Him and Chris DiStefano. What they're up to now with their History Hyenas, I think is fucking beautiful.
Yeah. They're kind of blowing up over there. So So I've done a little acting here and there, and but yeah, just that auditioning, man. It's just like it just drives me nuts. Everyone. It seems like it's so little work, but I think it's actually a ton of work to properly prepare for an audition. Just to go in there, you're there for like 30
Well, if you
seconds.
do it right, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so, but yeah, I've just never really explored it. I could, but if I would have to like know that someone was interested in working with me, and then I would do it. I just can't stand the auditioning thing.
I think there's a lot of crossover these days that when comedians succeed or when they start to gain some kind of prevalence. Or prominence, sorry, not prevalence. I mean, become prevalent in the industry with some prominence.
Yeah, that works.
The first thing that producers and execs want to do is go, right, let's do the story of you as a comedian. You're going to just play yourself. Because I think it was the Louis C.K. model, really. I mean,
sure.
Or Seinfeld.
Yeah, well, the idea of doing a show for a comedian based on their lives, that's even older than Seinfeld, I think. I guess he's the first one that played a comedian. But I mean, like, look at, who's that guy from? Roseanne. Is not. I mean, she's not playing a comedian, but it's still her life. Right?
Yeah. I mean, surely that household would have been way more racist though, if it was her life, right? There would have been fucking Nazi memorabilia around the place. Darlene would have had a Trump poster on her wall. If we were making it real.
Yeah. But there's. I mean, they've been doing that forever. They always want us to do a show or something like that. But it makes sense. It's like if you don't move into other mediums, some people aren't comedy fans. Like Rodney Dangerfield, or like who is it? No, Sam Kinison. Like because he's really only lives in these like a special or a couple albums.
I mean, he doesn't live at all.
Yes, lives. He's mostly dead. Most of the time he's dead.
But every now and then he does a comeback tour.
I'm telling you, it's through movies and things like that. That media is has a longer shelf life than a stand-up, and also some people just aren't going to consume the stand-up. So
because we're oversaturated with it now, maybe.
Well, that's now, but always like it just doesn't age well. I'm saying like you have people are probably more familiar with Rodney Dangerfield because he's done movies as well as the stand-up,
Caddyshack and things like that.
Caddyshack, Back to School, classics.
Yeah.
But Sam Kinison just doesn't have that other presence, so he's kind of a little bit forgotten if you're not a big comedy fan.
If you're not a comedy fan, yeah. Kinison was a lunatic though, so he sort of had the. I think if you can in the world of comedy, if you can become, and this is again brings us back to our earlier point about putting on voices or doing characters or maybe not necessarily being as truthful in your characterization. I know that if I wanted to be infinitely more successful in this country as a British comic, I should either follow the Guy Ritchie or the Jimmy Carr route.
Which is?
Well, that's what Americans expect of Brits. They want me to go on stage and either be like, oh, hello, I'm British and I'm very posh and I'm a little bit silly and I'm a little bit awkward, and isn't that nice? That's what Jimmy Carr does. Jack Whitehall does it. They're not normally like that. They created exaggerated versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And push that. Jack White was a great example because he had some success in the UK. Same time as me, we did actually hosted the same TV show, Big Brother's Big Mouth, and we were doing lots of stuff together in that respect, on the same par. And then he switched up his whole shtick to be like the most popular comedian in England that time, which was Michael McIntyre. Have you ever heard of Michael?
I know all these names.
It's okay. So McIntyre's like probably. I mean, I don't know if he is today, but he was the biggest comedian in England for many years.
Wow.
And he's. Oh, I'm so British.
Really?
And when you got the draw, you got the mandrill. And he's very much like that. He appealed to the upper middle classes, right?
Okay.
And the upper class. But people could laugh at him in a sort of Basil Fawlty-esque manner. He's like, oh, I'm posh, but I'm very silly. And Jack Whitehall changed his voice to be more like that and then subsequently blew up. Because they were. And I think there's something about being what's the right word? What would be the right word? Maybe like becoming not caricature, but if you can be an enhanced two-dimensional version of yourself without losing any of your depth of personality.
Well, it's funny because people say find your voice and they mean it like a metaphor, like what's your perspective and things like that. But actually, literally, if you have an accent or a distinctive voice, that makes it so much easier for people to jump on board with
or
the
if you're
character or the
fat,
persona
if
or anything
you've got
like that. Yeah,
fucking weird face.
Yeah, yeah. If there's something, they're like, oh, you're this guy. I mean, think about like
two fucking LA 11s like us. I mean, it's hard for us to even be funny because what have we got to complain about?
Yeah, yeah. It's just my life is too easy, and I'm too blessed really to even make jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like Theo Vaughn. He's got a mullet, and he's talking he's talking with that accent.
He wasn't like that though before, was he?
I know, but I'm just saying like it works for him. And I get a little judgy when I see someone like choosing a persona.
Yeah.
But whatever, it works for people. I'm trying to be.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd take Theo Von's career right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If I had to walk around and just be like, man, let me tell you about crazy things that happen, man. Man, it's great. But the lovable redneck or whatever he is, the liberal redneck, is that his nickname?
No, that's another guy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was a liberal redneck as well.
I mean, they're both liberal rednecks because they're here in Hollywood and they're trying to be successful.
Yeah,
but there's another guy who has a character that is the liberal redneck.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He's a different guy.
There's something about it. I mean, actually, so I fucking I don't necessarily think that you should become like an overt two-dimensional version of yourself. But Matt Groening said it, and a comedian referenced it years ago. I think it might even been Russell Brand, who I fucking there's another example of an overt characterization that I don't like. But he said, Matt Groening said, the great thing about The Simpsons, all the characters on The Simpsons, is that if you made any of them silhouette, you know who it is. Like they're all identifiable in silhouette.
Oh yeah.
Or their voice. They're so. Every one of those people could go off and have their own thing.
Yeah.
It could be the Apu show.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the Chief Wiggum cop story or whatever it could be. And he's right, like becoming, I think even the best TV shows, like, look, Friends, whether you like Friends or not, I watched it growing up. I watched it as a kid. Did I ever really laugh out loud? No, I don't think I did. Not once. But I watched it mostly for Jennifer Aniston's nipples, which seemed to be erect from series 2 until series 25.
It's cold on those sets.
Dude, wasn't there stories that she used to wear prosthetic nipples?
Oh,
to
really?
give
I didn't
herself
hear that.
erect nipples through a bra because she knew it brought in
That's crazy.
more viewers, more fan base.
Isn't Friends bigger in England than it is here? Or it was bigger? Someone was just telling me that. They said it was like, our Seinfeld, it's like kind of like Seinfeld over there. It's
Seinfeld
bigger.
wasn't huge in England.
Yeah, but Friends was.
Friends was, yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Seinfeld is, yeah.
But I don't think it was as big as it was in America. I mean, there was more people watching Friends in America than there were in England, just by...
But percentage-wise, I think Seinfeld was more of a phenomenon, maybe. But now it is... Now Friends, I think, because it's streaming and stuff like that, is kind of like coming back.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it again. It's just like... It still comes off as like low... It's like... what if Seinfeld was dumber and prettier? And that's kind of what it is.
But also... of its time, when it was made, so that was a shit we laughed
but
at.
Seinfeld's still funny. No, that's not... You can't say that. Seinfeld was from the same time, and it's still funny as hell.
I'm gonna potentially invoke the wrath of the Jewish mafia here.
What are you gonna say? What?
I am not a huge fan of the Seinfeld TV show.
That's crazy, man.
Dude,
that's crazy.
I can still appreciate, and it's strange because I love Larry David's work. I certainly Curb is such a different show to Seinfeld, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you forget when you watch them both. I'm like, Curb is so funny. Larry David is so funny.
The relations.
You can see the relations, but you know what else? You forget that now I'm forgetting his name. Jason Alexander is such a good actor. He's a better actor than Larry David.
That's his agent, right?
No. Jason Alexander is the guy who plays George, who is basically the Larry David character on Seinfeld. And you know what I'm saying?
No, wait, I'm gonna look.
Well, Larry David is Larry David. The character that was based on Larry David in Seinfeld is George, right? You know George from Seinfeld.
Have
you watched Seinfeld? You
I've
don't hate
watched
it, but you haven't watched it.
I watched a couple of episodes.
You haven't watched it.
Wait, George Costanza.
Yeah, George Costanza.
He's the little guy with bald hair.
Yes, that's who's playing the Larry David character on Seinfeld. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he acts a lot like Larry David in Curb, but that guy is like, he's a performer, he's an actor, and as good as funny as Larry David is, to watch Jason Alexander, I mean, that guy can really act. He's great on that show. It's a great show. Maybe if you watch Seinfeld, you might enjoy it. You haven't seen it.
I've definitely watched
George,
more than one episode.
I don't believe you.
Bro, I haven't watched it for 5-6 years. The last time I watched an episode, and it was like one episode.
This is what I'm saying. You got to watch more than one episode.
Okay.
You got to give it a chance.
All right.
Come on.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Come on.
When I get a new TV series now, I give it at least 2 or 3 episodes before I make up a decision.
Yeah. Also, Seinfeld's bad for like the first season. Jump in the second. Yeah. Takes him a minute.
I mean, well, that's a lot of work, though, man. Because how long is a season? 24 eps, 12 eps?
You don't got. It's not like these serialized things. Just jump in on the second or third. Jump in any episode you want.
What kind of fucking heathen are you, dude? Oh, that's not how we do it. You've seen my apartment. I'm OCD as fuck.
Yeah, I bet. Yes, you watch everything all together in order.
I have to watch it in order. Yeah.
Wow, that's no. Yeah, I can't even do that. You know, honestly, I don't watch any. I haven't watched Sopranos, Breaking Bad.
I'm just watching The Sopranos with my girlfriend right now.
Yeah, I can't watch. I'm saving them till when I get cancer, and then I'm going to watch them all at once. That's my plan.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of cancer in your family?
Just normal amount, but I'm sure I'll get something at some point. I'm just saying,
Just
whatever.
the right amount. Just the right touch of cancer.
Yeah, just a little bit so I can catch up on all the shows.
Yeah,
and then I'm
racist
back out
uncle got it. That's all right. We weren't too upset. It's fine. Granddad, he's old as fuck. What does he need to know? Everyone in my family has cancer or has had cancer, including both my parents.
Damn.
Yeah, dad had prostate. Granddad had prostate.
My grandfather had prostate, so that's
you might be susceptible. You have to get a finger in the bum technically you should do it every 6 months.
Want to get.
There you go. Yeah, but no, you have to get it done at a proctologist, but you want to go and get it done at the end of the massage down the road in that little Thai town.
You have to every 6 months. You need it.
I mean, so they say like a medical professional, like a specialist would say, yeah, come and get a checkup every 6 months, blah, blah, blah. Because, a lot can happen in your body within 6 months. Fuck. And after a certain age, I think after like 40, they want to start checking. But they'll go like, you can check once a year.
No, I got to get... you know what I had this year? This is the worst. I didn't even know this happened.
You got health insurance?
I have it... I have it for like 3 more weeks, man. I got to make an appointment like next week.
Medi-Cal, right?
Yeah, you got I have Riders Guild insurance that's about to run out.
I had Medi-Cal. How poor. That's how much money I earned last year, ladies and gentlemen.
It's so so now I'm applying for the like the insurance, and I'm like hoping I don't make enough so I can get the insurance, but it's also depressing me as I'm putting in the numbers.
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
it's a strange mixed emotions.
I wrote them a thing and said, "This is what I earned last year," and they went, "Yep, no more Medi-Cal for you, mate. Sorry, you've earned money now." So
congratulations!
No, because now
not being able to have health
who's going to
insurance.
stick a finger in my arsehole now?
All right, I'll do it. You don't have to beg.
There you go.
But
podcast is over, mate. That's it. That's all I brought you here for. It took 27 minutes, but I finally got Louie to offer a finger.
This is what I had this year because it's funny. It's like it's funny because I've been doing stand up since I was 21 or 21. So I've grown up, and
You're
it's
like
funny.
The Pete Davidson of the Jewish community.
Is he not? No, he's not. Definitely not Jewish.
Definitely not Jewish.
The Davidson made me think like, is he? No, of course he's not. Clearly not Jewish.
Davidson.
Yeah. That's
that.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But Pete was like 17. He opened for me when he was like 17.
Really?
Yeah. He was. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy just watch him have a growth spurt. He was short and shit. It was. Nuts.
Really?
Yeah. He was. Yeah. He shot up like a I swear 6 inches or a foot. Like from when he opened for me to like the next year, and then,
that's crazy. He had a late life spurt.
Yeah. But so anyway, so when I was young and I'd hear all these comedians tell these jokes, and it's like I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. These guys live, and now I'm like living through all the shit that I watched them, and it's kind of like you look at like life stages. Like I'm at the age where I should have the camera up the ass bit. You know what I mean? I should have like I'm at that age. Probably next then a few years later I'll have the dead dad bit. You know what I mean? Like it's going through
then
life
the
stages.
Yeah,
the divorce bit. So it's like
Suicidal
life stages.
Thoughts bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going through those.
And then I have to donate another $100 to a fucking GoFundMe.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And then it's time, and that's it. That's
Dude,
how you know.
Comedians. Actually, I think it was maybe Candace Owens. I think might have written it. I want to say a quite funny tweet. Obviously, we just lost Chris Cotton from the comedy community, which was a very sad loss. But and I say that I don't want to cast aspersions that I knew the guy very closely, but
sad.
Yeah, and also every time I met him, he seemed like a very genuine, very humble, very sweet guy. Everyone
totally.
had good things to say about him, which is nice. But she said, fuck joining a gang if you want to lose friends. Just start stand-up comedy. But it does feel like there's been a lot of fucking young deaths.
Yeah. Well, I always thought that when I started out, it was like I still haven't. None of my friends have died, but being in comedy, even when I started, there was a lot of deaths. I started, and there was there's a guy named Dan who died in the Bay Area, local comic, and then it was the same year Freddie Soto died, and then Geraldo died, and then Patrice died. So it was like they all come in bunches. But this year, there's been a lot, man. It's really depressing. It's really sad. I was friends with Kevin Barnett, and that was really that one hit hard. It was that was really sad.
We you know what though, and I know this is awful. I don't feel a huge amount of camaraderie in the comedy world, and the reason I haven't felt that, But I'm going to have a nice part of this point at the end of it.
Yeah.
But the reason I think I haven't felt that is for very simple reasons. In England, I moved from television presenting into comedy. So there was animosity from the comedy community because I had the thing that they were aspiring to do. And then I went, I'm going to give up TV to do stand-up. And that pissed people off. They were like, fuck you, man. I'm doing comedy so I can get on TV.
Well, it's also... Al Madrigal has the classic line about it that he said to Steve-O, which Steve-O got really mad about. He's like, I'm so good. It's so interesting. So Steve-O goes on, and Al Madrigal follows him at the Improv, and he's like, it's so good to see that my dream is someone else's last resort. So there is that feeling, but I don't think that's the same as you because it's still early on, and it's something you wanted to do.
And also, I've been doing stand-up now for 9 years, and I'm desperately passionate about it. And it's, I am a comic. I'm a comic.
That's committed to it. It
I'm a
doesn't
real
matter
comic.
how you get into it.
I'm not Jeremy Pivoting this shit. I'm not doing it because there's a fucking,
because you got a divorce settlement to pay off,
or like 20 Me Too charges pending.
Sorry, that's the Piven way.
I'm doing it because this is what makes me feel alive, and I feel good. And I was on stage before that, but my point being, so that in England, that very much put me outside of the comedy community a little bit. Plus, aesthetically. And I was even more bolshy and definitely a little arrogant back then. So
what was that word you used before that?
Bolshy.
What the fuck is that?
Bolshy is like a sort of an overconfidence, a bit of a big entity. You say like gregarious or...
How do you spell it?
Bolshy, Bolshy, I believe.
Is this a... Should I know this word, or is this like
It's
slang?
a real word, yeah. Bolshy. Oh, it's so
Bolshy.
bolshy. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of my words.
It's like it means arrogant?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Let me get the.
Bolshy.
Let me. I'm assuming that's the spelling. BOL.
I've just never heard it before.
And then in America, understandably, people over here, bolshy definition. Here you go. BOLSHY. It's loading. My phone is hard. This is an iPhone 6s. Remember, you can patreon.com/Savage Snowflake. Oh no, it's bolshy is with an IE or adjective bolshy with a Y. Of a person or attitude, deliberately combative or uncooperative. Bolshy. I was a bolshy teenager, full of argument, and it comes from Bolshevik or socialist. That's kind of where it comes from. Like
this is a UK thing. Is this a rare word that I should know? I swear I've never heard it before.
It's an adjective. It's in a dictionary.
Some kind of British dictionary.
Yeah, one of the original ones with all the letters in it, where we don't fucking just remove half a word and go, that's how we say this shit now, fucking America.
I know, there should be a U in color. Why? It's useless.
But anyway, I used to be like, so I understand why they didn't like me there, but here in America, what I've experienced is a similar vibe, lack of camaraderie, because I went straight in the Comedy Cellar, which again ruffled feathers.
Sure.
And then... I didn't come up with anyone here. Like, at least in England, I came up with people.
You need a class to come up with. Yeah,
you helps a lot. Yeah, you fucking work with people. You remember doing that shitty fucking club for 5 people and doing that every single weekend, going down there and waiting with your buddies. And there's something about that ties you together.
Totally.
Unless like the comedian I mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
they just go fuck you.
Yeah.
But. All of that aside, even though I haven't felt very much camaraderie amongst the comedy community generally, which is why most of my friends are not comedians.
I have similar thoughts. Go on.
Oh, I'd like to hear those. When comics die, the camaraderie is wonderful.
Yeah.
I like that at least, even if we're not super nice to each other in life, even if people don't seem to, people love to backstab and bitch and two-face and whinge and, why is this person succeeding? And all that. Yeah. They love to do that shit. But when someone passes away and we all collectively know this is fucked, like this man's left behind a wife and an unborn fucking child.
Yeah, this one's really sad. And it's always, I think it's just because it's such a hard...
But they've raised like $50,000 in like 3 days or something, and it keeps going up, and people keep donating.
Maybe I'm just kind of emotional, but I was silly. I was looking through the list. I donated anonymously, but other people didn't.
I didn't. I put my name.
Oh, you didn't? It's you know what it is? It's
Amy Schumer put her name as well.
Yeah.
She donated $2,500 and put her name on it. I was like, you could have done 5 and you could have kept it anonymous. Just saying.
I'm not saying
how many millions? Yeah. How many millions? I gave $100. Let's work this shit out, right? I hope Chris would approve of this incredibly shallow deconstruction of his GoFundMe page. But let's lay this out, Louie, okay? I gave $100, right? And I had Medi-Cal last year. Right? Amy Schumer has how many tens of millions? $2,500. I'm just saying.
Everyone,
not that many comics dying every year.
That's what she should. That's what she gets for not doing it anonymously. So you could say, I thought that was.
Exactly.
I still think that's generous. I think it's
it's very generous.
It's nice of her.
If you're Pete Lee.
Well, she's got a kid now. If you're Pete Lee.
Well, because Pete Lee's successful, but he's not millions. He's not making millions.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was. I remember. It's funny. It's like these weird things that, and I'm not religious at all, but it was like one thing. I learned in like Hebrew school growing up was that like the top level of giving is to give anonymously, to not let anyone know and keep it all anonymous.
Absolutely.
So the person doesn't know.
Simply just giving because you want to make that person's life easier or whatever.
Yeah.
Not because you want any recognition for it.
Yeah. So I try, when I give on those things, I give anonymously. But it was like, I'm honestly like.
You're a better man than me.
Well, no, but you don't know how much I gave. But.
Fair. You know what? The funniest bit, have you seen the funniest bit of that whole fucking donation page?
What?
Is someone, clearly a hater of his, donated $5 and put Rich Voss. Fucking beautiful.
That's hilarious.
It's so funny.
That's really funny.
Just like $5 from Rich Voss. That's how it goes.
That's funny. I'm glad we can still be funny through it all. But it was like watching, just reading through it and seeing everyone he gave, small or large, and really not the amount, was like I found it really touching. It was
Absolutely.
It's really sweet how everyone does. And I think people just know, man, this life is fucking hard. It's really hard. Like I didn't realize. I never thought it would be as hard as it is. And it's not. I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. But it's like I really didn't have any concept of how difficult it would be when I started out. Maybe if I knew, I might have. I don't know if I would have chosen something different. Maybe I wouldn't have. But I just really. When everyone's like, it's like, don't you want more stability? I didn't understand what that meant.
I think I'd be further along in my acting career if I hadn't done stand up.
Really?
That I'm certain of. Not just because of time, but. The time or emotional investment, but I think also the what it takes to be a great comic, and what I perceive subjectively to be a great comic, which is honest, raw, revealing, empathetic, and
funny. You might want to put funny in there at some point.
Funny goes without saying. No, you're right. You're right, man. But I mean, in this day and age, Jesus Christ, it's that. I mean, that's so subjective. You know, one man's funny is another man's TED talk. You know?
I guess, man, funny. No, I mean, that is true. And funny is a great oversimplification, but still.
I'll make a joke about Amy Schumer's donation, right? But and whether I like her I didn't enjoy the last couple of specials from her.
Sure.
However, millions of people did. So she's funny. Like I can already say she's a funny woman. She's not for me.
Yeah.
You know,
but there's that. There's things that are like. See, I don't think taste is subjective. I think it's objective. I think there's good stuff and there's bad stuff. And I think that's what you can say. You can say this is good. This is not for me, but I get that it's for someone else. And you could say this is shit. This is just shit, and if you like this, you have shit taste. I'm not saying that about Amy Schumer. I'm saying that in general. Like, I feel that way about music. I feel that way about food. Are we just gonna pretend like there's such a thing as subject? Like, some things are good and some things fucking suck. And, you know...
Now, is that based on numbers? Because if you have...
No, it's not based on numbers. Because McDonald's has billions served.
I'm an artist, right? I'm a musician. And I make a fucking terrible... weird album, right?
Yeah, that sounds bad.
And a lot of people go, that's dog shit. But 10 people on the internet love it, listen to it religiously. Now, is it still shit because those 10 people like it and they just have shit taste? Now, what if 1,000 people like it?
It's not a number thing. It's not a number thing at all. It's not a number thing. What makes good art art is different also from like the thing is comedians aren't straight up artists. We're also kind of entertainers. What is probably closer to
100%.
is I think the closest thing, like analogy to it would be chefs or cooking, because if your food doesn't taste good, you have failed.
It doesn't matter how well you plate it up.
It doesn't. Yeah. So it has to perform a certain thing. It has to make you taste good tastes. So and a comedian has to make people laugh. So
Absolutely.
It's not like an artist where it's like you didn't get this was supposed to make
Hannah Gadsby.
What?
Unless you're Hannah Gadsby. And then it's more about provoking thought. Again, a subjective viewpoint.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. If you're gonna, that's why all those, and granted, all the critics that were riling up all the stand-ups were straight up what's it called? Trolling us. We all got trolled. The whole comedy community got trolled. But when you could say the special is all sorts of things, but to say it's the best, if you're using the word comedy, it's just not a comedy. So it's really great for what it is,
It's
which
a
is something
wonderful
different.
one-woman show with
yes.
comical elements and theatrical, thought-provoking
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
but is it a great 1 hour comedy special?
Yeah, no. Comedy should make you laugh. Comedy should be funny. Funny over everything is what it is. So that's that.
But are there some sick fucks out there who, as Hannah Gadsby pours her heart out about a gang rape situation, are laughing their heads off? To them, is that the greatest comedy album ever released?
No, they're probably still they probably love Cosby, I would say. I'd say Cosby is still going to be their
old
favorite.
school Cosby.
Yeah.
I mean, she's no Cosby, but it's nice to hear the other viewpoint. Wow, yeah, that's dark. But that was what I was going to say is like I think they're almost at odds with each other, the two careers, unless you're, and the reason being because the things that
acting and comedy, you're saying?
Because as an actor, revealing your personal truths is not what you're meant to do. And I categorically say you are meant to draw personal elements of yourself out to put them into the characters you play on screen or on stage. However, you're meant to just keep this very clean, placid, private, even your social media, like just you're not even meant to have a partner or a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You're just meant to be like available, clean.
Oh, interesting.
And I know that there's been acting roles where they've looked at my my social media, and they've gone, we can't put him in this role because this is a children's network, and he gets on stage and makes jokes about
ridiculous.
About not being able to vote in the elections, being like the husband in cuckold pornography. We can't.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about that? The example I was going to say about someone who good stand-up doesn't have to be that personal, and it could still be really great. And a perfect example of that
one-liner
is
comics or
like Carlin never talks about his own life in hour after hour, and he did end up being on a children's show. Never talks about his own personal life. He goes
Carlin draws from his personal life a lot in his
George Carlin. He never talks about his own life.
Huge, big political, social climate.
Never talks about his own life. David Tell. Never. You don't know. Somehow they both managed.
He doesn't talk about his personal life, but he does talk from his.
Exactly. It's kind of cool.
And he will occasionally go like, I grew up in a Catholic,
that's true.
Like he does bring a bit of himself.
But you never hear about him, his kids, his wife, his battle with alcoholism. You've never heard Carlin talk about any of that.
Yeah.
And Attel with the same thing. It's what's really great about Attel is he's telling these kind of one-liner jokes. Somehow there's a three-dimensional aspect to them. You get this whole character through the jokes.
Without knowing everything about his personal life.
Without knowing anything. I mean, like him and Mitch Hedberg are like the two like really great examples of that, where it's like they're one-liners, but they have depth. They have real depth, and that's also very hard to do. But neither of them really talk about their own like personal life that much at all.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's not necessarily that's just one kind of comedy is this revealing, raw, honest thing, and other ones, great ones, the best, can not do that at all. You know?
I mean, you're right. Yeah, and Carlin definitely did children's show, but he also did children's show in the fucking whatever it was 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A different time.
Yeah, it's all social media has changed everything, and it's a whole different.
And also virtue signaling and lynch mobs and cancel culture. And all that
stuff.
Have you ever been a victim of cancel culture stuff?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah. Not really. Not to the point where people like were just like I
get him off TV.
No, I haven't been on TV enough for someone to want me off of it
yet.
But
there's still time to be taken down by a blog writer.
Hopefully, I can make it so then it can all be taken away.
Are you
from
on the Jezebel radar? Are they aware of you?
I don't think I've ever done anything. Also, it's kind of also an advantage to being because I'm honest with a lot of things, but it's very joke. They're clearly jokes that I'm writing, and that's the thing. Like Attel can get away with saying anything because they're clearly jokes. Mm-hmm. If you're up there saying like, "This is what I think," and these are my beliefs, even though they are still jokes, they're not. It's not as clear, and people are dumb. They don't. So it's like it's kind of when they're jokes, you can get away with more stuff.
No,
the only time it came close for me was this is a few years. This was about 4 years ago, so it was before like. Really the
birth of Me Too culture and
I would call it more like cancel culture. I wouldn't put it on Me Too like that, but it was like I was dumb enough to think like I had a political idea. I have two friends that I like to talk about them with. Neither of them answered their phone. I'm like, I'm gonna put this on Facebook. Huge mistake. Like now I wouldn't do anything like that. But I was like, this is cool. I didn't realize that.
Wait, what did you say?
It was just something I'd have to, because I think I fucked up a little bit in the phrasing, so I'd have to go back and see it exactly.
Yeah, sure.
But it was something to the point of that.
Trump has it right, and that
No,
the world would be a better place if it was completely white.
Yeah.
And,
Well, look, white is right. It doesn't just rhyme,
and
it's,
that wall
it's
needs
true.
to be built.
Yeah. No, it was during the election. Actually, it was before he got voted in, and it was something about how actually about kind of cancel by throwing out the word racism too much, it becomes like a boy who cried wolf thing, and because people use it willy nilly, it's kind of lost its power, and that's a problem. And this is the other thing. It was before that PC culture kind of flipped. The word PC has taken such a ride in like American parlance. It's crazy because it's meant so many different things. So this is like, it meant something different to comedians at that time, where I think it just meant like people and look, everyone on the internet wants to say that it. Look, everyone's gotten way more open to hearing all sorts of crazy jokes in the last year. It's awesome right now. You can get away with all kinds of crazy shit.
For a certain audience, yeah.
I found that like it's the pendulum has swung back the other way, and it's really like wonderful now. And we can get away with all kinds
Are
of
we
shit.
talking about like kind of a good example of that would be like Andrew Schultz, that kind of thing. He's
Not just that. I'm saying anything. Like
Chris and
literally, I have a joke that I had to stop doing 2 years ago because audience could not handle it. That I'm doing this year. That's working everywhere.
What's the bit?
It's like a classic retard bit, but I don't.
Classic retard, love it. Okay,
But anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Now I kind of lost my stream of thought.
you were talking about cancel culture. You couldn't do that joke 2 years ago. Now you can do that. And
so there was a time
changing phrasing of PC culture.
Yeah. So there was a time when comedians, we would sincerely say it's like it was getting too PC, and audiences were getting way more uptight.
Absolutely.
But then there was a point where the right kind of stole that word back and used PC culture as an excuse to get away with anything racist. Oh, you're just being PC. I'm not going to be PC. I'm just going to say this crazy racist thing.
Sure.
And it was like right as that was turning, and some of the people that saw me. So I think I'm talking to people that are comedians or people that understand what I'm talking about. I didn't realize that some people railing against PC culture sounds already like a right-wing stance and a pro-racism stance.
First of all, they'll ignore the fact that you're fucking Jewish, which is, which should be a glaringly obvious element of who you are, that maybe he's not, a backwards racist,
Well, Kushner, and so there's always some shit Jews out there fucking things up.
A New York-based at that time Jewish comedian, you'd think he's probably cool with most people, and
sure,
I mean, the Jewish community and the people of color have had a great relationship in this country for because they went through similar shit, similar persecutions. Mm-hmm. But I get that. I think there's. For me, even more so, because not only am I a fucking redco, and what's going on with Brexit, but I'm 6'4", I'm fucking white, I'm male, I'm straight, I look like a douchebag. Like, I get it. And you can't say things without some people immediately going, you're doing this, right? No, I'm not being, an awful person. I'm just voicing an opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I think there's also, I just realized, like, I'm going to voice my opinions to my friends and people who know me, and I'm just
and
the internet.
Forgot that there are all those fucking Instagram thoughts that you'd friended, and that's the problem, man. If you're gonna, you give Becky a follow, she's gonna fucking write a blog about you, dude.
Oh man, there's so many thoughts. I love seeing the other comedians that follow them too. It's usually me and like Sherrod.
Sherrod loves it.
Yeah.
Sherrod exclusively only posts videos of him outside his own shows, which, by the way, are booked by the Comedy Cellar. He's always like, sold it out again, my brother, sold it out again. I'm like, man, did you? Or did but he's, books great comedians and does good shows. And then the only other content he has is like, look at me with this Colombian model who's hanging out on my show.
He lives a great life. He lives the life that I thought comedy would be. But it's not.
Yeah.
But fuck, I lost myself again. Anyway,
we're talking about this post on Facebook. And you thought it was just your friends seeing it.
What I didn't realize is that when one of my friends comments on it, this at the time, this is how Facebook worked. One of your friends comments on it, then anyone who they're friends with can see it, comes up in their feed.
Comes in the timeline.
And that's what fucked me up. And I'm friends with people that are very uptight on the left side.
Sure.
and they just kind of tore me up for it, like saying like, what, racism has lost it. It's like they just really got in the new. They just didn't understand what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't like and it kind of took me off social media for like a long time. Actually, just now I'm kind of getting back on, just because I realize like I might not like it, but it's something that I have to do. It's part of the job. But my rule now is that like it's either photos, so you know Instagram, or if I'm going to post something where it's just going to be a joke. I'm just going to put a joke. I have no opinions, no whatever. You want opinions, you can come up and ask me.
I did that 6 months ago. Actually, when I gave up drinking, I deleted every photo off Instagram, every post off Facebook, and every tweet I'd ever sent.
Wow.
For the last, God knows what, 7-8 years, I guess.
Why?
Because I realized that if there was anything, any content amongst any of that was a joke that at the time of making it was okay and was expected and was funny and was socially acceptable, there's a big chance that in today's social climate, it could lose me a job.
Yeah.
And so I deleted it and I went, I don't like social media anyway very much because I think it's mostly falsified.
Sure.
So all I'm going to post is comedy clips, photos of, a couple of fun things, living the life a bit, and then occasionally a very honest post about depression or alcoholism or whatever.
Sure.
I'm going to put a little bit of that. Something that people can go, oh, it's not all bullshit on this platform, and he's a real guy.
Yeah. But that's smart. I mean, it's like...
And the occasional shirtless photo, Louie.
Yeah, you got to let people know.
I want to be a super villain. I want to play a super villain more than anything in the world.
What, a shirtless supervillain?
I mean, they're always shirtless at some point. If you want to play a super villain or a superhero, you have to look like a fucking super villain or a superhero.
That's not Dr. Evil. Never shirtless.
So far, in the version of the movie where I play Dr. Evil, he absolutely has a moment where he takes the fucking shit off and he removes his fucking outfit, and there's just like
ripped,
just fucking nice chest, some abs, glutes. Could be a glute scene.
All right, that makes sense. I could see that.
So that took you off for a few years or so.
Yeah. I just wasn't. I just wanted to. I just didn't. It just like I was like I didn't like it. I just don't. It's funny. I like pushing the envelope and pushing buttons, and then it like
pushing
it does,
boundaries.
Yeah, and it does. But I want it. I want to still. My whole point is that I want to get away with it. I don't really want to upset people. I want people to feel almost upset and then laugh at it.
You want people to get the joke.
Yes.
You don't want people to misinterpret it and then get offended.
Yeah,
by it. Which
legit.
Is every fucking comedian who's good.
Yes. Yeah. So
hey, here's this awful fucking thing I'm saying that's funny, so we can all laugh at it.
Yeah.
And also like stop it being demonized, and also laugh at how awful this thing is.
Yeah,
and we know it's awful, but let's make it into a thing of ridicule so we can move beyond it. But by the way, I don't mean that thing. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Footnote.
Yeah.
This is a joke every time. Yeah. Fucking.
Well, I mean, it has gotten weird here because there is the fact that like it's just people are being. It seemed like for a while you could say evil shit and everyone would be like, okay, that's definitely being ironic. And these days, evil seems to be like people are very sincerely evil, and it's like I'm talking about Trump and all that stuff. So it's like really like, well, is this ironic? Like people don't really know anymore. It's so it can be hard for people to tell. But generally speaking, if we're on stage and at a comedy show, we're joking. I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think there's a different set of rules for different types of comedians. I see, if I make a joke about the liberal left, and I, as a classic liberal and democratic leaning individual, which I am, because of I'm literally racially profiled, and that can make people assume the joke is hateful of the left, or rather than pointing out, people will take the joke from me very differently to if a black comedian, for instance, on stage, or a female comedian on stage makes a similar joke about the liberal left or about their own camp.
That's true.
And
I mean, you gotta like you can't. I mean, but that's not just. You're using a certain instrument, man, and it's going to affect the crowd a certain way. You have to know that, like, how you come off on stage. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's part of understanding, how you're and developing your voice and going, all right, well, I can't say these things because aesthetically that doesn't represent, or they don't match up, or people will already be on the back foot assuming something.
Yeah. You have to think about. It's very hard. Like a hard thing for comedians to learn is how the audience perceives you, because you don't know what it's like to see you for the first time. You know what I mean? So it's hard to
Every time you walk into a room, I'm just like, all right,
hard.
There he is. Not necessarily hard, but there's like butterflies.
All right.
Yeah, it's not sexual, but it's like, here, there he is.
Oh.
Look at that little smile. Look at that adorable smile. You know he's from California normally, right? It's got that New York swagger, but then that Californian kindness. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting fucking time for comedy. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm interested because it seems like you've had some similar experiences in being either misinterpreted, by people who want to look for offense and everything. That's the issue now. We have people now with a voice who have gone through their lives looking to be offended by everything.
But this is why I think the pendulum swung, because people have like smartened up. They've noticed that like, oh, people are always trying to tear someone down for something, and it's like people. I mean, it's like I don't know what it's
that's
like.
That's a very new
thing,
though.
Yeah,
that's a very new thing. The idea of people being able to go, this is always going to happen to us. So don't be apologetic for it. Make the joke, and if people don't get it, go, it was a joke. And if you don't understand it or you're offended, that's your fucking issue.
Yeah,
not mine.
Yeah.
Next.
But also, I've always been one to like think about what I'm saying and think about like what does the joke actually say? Like it might sound a certain way, but can I justify it?
And what are the implications of telling that kind of a joke?
Yeah, exactly. And if I can justify, if I think, well, really, I'm being ironic, so the point is this, then I'm okay with it. Except, you know what? I was doing for a while. I was doing a joke, a child molesting joke.
Okay.
And then after the show, this dude was molested. Like I talked to him about it for like an hour. And he didn't convince me he's still wrong, because I was like, well, what if I'd been molested? Would that have been okay? He's like, yeah, that would have been okay. I was like, well, how do you know if I've been molested or
there
not?
You go, exactly.
So it was clearly bullshit, but I'm just like, I don't want to talk to a dude who was molested for an hour after a show.
No, it's a real bummer.
So yeah, so I just kind of stopped
Ironically,
doing the
so
joke.
was the molester. Yeah. See, it's a terrible joke.
Yeah.
That's a mean joke, but it's clearly a fucking joke trying to soften the idea of a man being assaulted as a child, which is never funny.
Well, actually, in actuality, it's not. But like you said, you take a horrible thing, you make it funny. And actually, I'm saying that's not actually what stopped me. What stopped me was I saw Ian Edwards, who was a very funny comic, had a similar joke, and mine was like, it also had to do with pop culture at the time, so I just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
But it was clearly anti child molesting, but it was just like between Ian Edwards having something kind of similar and like having to listen to that guy for an hour, I just kind of stopped doing the joke.
And you just use that it's buzzwords and like fucking hot button words. Like as soon as you say child molester or pedophile or rape is another one. Like that's a subject on stage that I just like. I managed to talk about the concept of sexual boundaries between men and women, and I relate it to the Me Too movement and blah 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 blah, and I tie it into dating and kind of how the roles are so very much one side in that absolutely women should be protected, and absolutely if you assault a woman you should be thrown in fucking jail. But also, some men should be a little wary that there's not every single woman on the planet is it has your best interests at heart,
Sure.
So I have to do this whole bit, but it's a real hard sell, and it gets bigger laughs from women than it does men, because men don't feel, I think, just comfortable laughing at the joke, whereas women go, no, that's funny, I get that. I understand
that's interesting.
But there was a while where I had to completely change wording of the bit.
Sure, I've had
to
jokes.
Make it okay for female audience members.
Yeah, you got it, and it's also like, think about like how you don't know. I mean, you can't know what it's like for a woman to hear what it's like for a woman to live in the world, and second, what it's like for a woman to hear these jokes. So you don't know till you start working them out and seeing how they work,
and also asking. I mean, I just asked I talked to a lot of female friends who've seen bits and go like, do you like that bit? Is it good? And they go, yeah. Although that's a little harsh word. When I was on TV, you learned certain rules about wording as well, just, which is the same in comedy. Different words have different power. Like the word tits and boobs mean exactly the same thing. But tits is a word that men use, and it's very hard, and it makes women feel uncomfortable because it's very coarse, and even just the punchiness of the T's in it, it has this kind of tits, tits is angry. Whereas boobs is such a lovely soft word, and it's a word that women prefer to use for breasts,
I really don't. I know that's true, and I know women prefer that, but to me, it's what they're doing is, I think tits sounds sexual. I think boob sounds not sexual, or it sounds childish. I don't like when things are turned childish.
So you would say breasts or mammary glands.
I would say titties, tiots, tatas, anything like that is where I would go.
Tiots isn't fucking a little childish.
No, it's very mature. I'm not saying it's, or maybe it's not the childishness. It's like I think, like you said, it's like how women refer to their own body, and they are desexualizing because it's not sexual to them.
Sure.
I like titties. So I think
them.
titties is. I think maybe titties is like the way to say it. You know, like
Titties.
I don't know. I think I just can't like. I don't like when people say I got to take a poop or I'm a poop. That sounds. I like you can take a shit.
No,
just take a
no,
shit.
no.
You know?
A 5-year-old takes a poop.
Yeah, exactly.
A grown-up takes a dirty regret shit.
Yeah, exactly.
The day after, which you're going to have at some point. You've had now a coffee and a tea.
Yeah.
It's going to come out. That hangover shit's coming.
I'm looking forward to it. I got a big day ahead of me.
I need to drop a load, man. No, you're right. I think there's just simple. I love getting into this and getting into the realm of like how much thought has to go behind every joke to be good. Mm-hmm. Even the concept. We were talking about aesthetics earlier. I know when I for instance, I'm not a big fan of the aesthetic joke as the opening gag for a comic.
I must look like this, or you
I know what you guys are thinking. Why is blah blah blah, or yeah, I get it.
Someone had a baby,
whatever it is. Yeah. Now I don't do exactly that per se, but I absolutely mock my aesthetic as my opening gambit, which is, you know, the fact that I don't like that kind of joke, and yet I do it at the top of my set. And the reason I have to do it at the top of my set is I have to make people aware that I hate myself at the beginning of my set, or that I don't have great self-esteem, or that I think of myself as a joke for them to be able to laugh for the next 15 to 1 hour. Yeah. And the reason for that is when I walk on stage in a flamboyant fucking outfit with big rings and skinny jeans and 6'4", people immediately look at me and go, fuck this guy. And understanding that is the job of a comedian. And to go, how do I make them go, oh, he's okay. Yeah. He's all right. He's funny. Yeah. And he hates himself, so I don't have to hate him.
Yeah. There's just a power dynamic to comedy, and sometimes comedy, it seems like typically the underdog is funnier. So if you're coming out like an overdog, you gotta say, no, I'm actually an underdog.
But then there was other comics who that was their whole fucking thing, like the Andrew Dice Clays of the world, that going up and being like, but that's hey, I'm a fucking You know?
Well, I mean, Eddie Murphy,
he's a character.
Eddie Murphy is like the coolest. I mean, like he's like, you know, I mean, and he's kind of like the main like cool guy, and even Pryor was like kind of very self-deprecating to some extent, even though he was pretty cool up there.
Yeah.
But Eddie Murphy's like this verse, like really slick, like he's the coolest guy,
and
he's
myself.
The funniest guy.
I love myself. Look at my fucking leathery suit.
Yeah.
Open to the navel.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just so undeniably funny that it's a different thing. But yeah, it's definitely something to deal with. And you know, you shouldn't feel bad about like doing the joke like that as long as you're doing the original take on it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of like, I mean, the other thing was like you were
I actually talk about the flamboyance of my outfit. So I make it about that, and I make it about the idea that in Los Angeles, I tie it very much into my life. So in Los Angeles, dressing in that flamboyant way, that's hashtag doing it. Do you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. And I have this little act out. I go, New York, this is not doing it. This is getting shouted at a guy you've never met before for the way you fucking dress. You know, I walk out my apartment, and the guy's like, what the fuck are you wearing, you red coat faggot? You know, and I'm like, morning, doorman. And it's just, you know, so the whole bit is how aggressive New York City is, how my outfit matches with LA more than New York, etc. So
why do you dress like that, or have you just always dressed like that?
I've always dressed quite flamboyantly or quite rock and roll. It got knocked out of me when I first moved to New York. So during those 2 years in New York, I stopped dressing flamboyantly. I started wearing shirts with sleeves. I took the rings off. I kept the hair for a long time, but you know, I toned it down a bit. And then I realized when I moved to LA that everything that had been beaten out of me in that respect, in terms of my flamboyant nature on stage, was done by people who were insecure and could never do those things. Yeah. And the only people who ever made fun of my outfits at the Comedy Cellar, or ever gave me shit about sleeveless shirts, or, oh, what are you, fucking Vosses, you know, like Offspring, you know, all that shit, they did it because they could never do those things. And so when I moved here, and it was only in the last year that I went, I like being fucking flamboyant. I like wearing floral shirts open to the navel. That's how I really love dressing. I love wearing all this jewelry. And I should do it. Every fucking rock star comedian, every legend of comedy, and this even extends to someone like Carlin, who is dressed very demure on stage. Yeah. But he had his look. He had his fucking...
Sure. It's about being like an iconic
Steve
character,
Jobs
like
look.
we were talking about.
Black
Steve
t-shirt.
Martin in the white shirt, white suits. You know, there you go. There's a way to make yourself stand out.
There you go, man.
New York can be very conservative. They kind of like they're very orthodox in the way they like their art. It like has to be a certain way, and you hear that in stand up. You can hear that in like New York hip hop. Like things have to be like, it's like a thing, like it should be this one way. And it's like L.A. It's like comedy. Like I still love New York comedians. I think pound for pound they're funnier. But it's like
New York comedy scene is the best comedy scene in the world.
Yeah,
hands down, guaranteed. Yeah.
But in L.A., but the thing is, I think people start to sound similar, and I think in L.A. people are fine with saying like Dan Soder is one of the funniest dudes in the world. Who he's so funny. He's a funny writer, but he can also do a million voices. He can do all these different characters, and people would shit on him for doing voices as if that was hacky. And so for a while he wouldn't
act out. So
yeah. And for a while he wouldn't do them. But it's like that's just fun. Like the only rule is you're funny in an original. You're funny and original. Those are the two rules, really. Yeah. And everything else, whatever. So I think New York in general can be kind of very orthodox about that. But also, that rock aesthetic, I feel like it's something very British. I feel like I see British people are still on that, whereas like America was kind of like, we haven't done that in a long time here.
Are you saying I'm outdated?
I'm not saying you're outdated. I'm saying you're British.
Okay. So what do I need to wear then? What could be my flamboyant outfit that's still like modern enough?
No, I don't know, man. Look, I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
Being a rock star never goes out of fashion though, dude. That's my argument.
Well, the thing is,
skinny jeans and an open fucking shirt all the way down here. It doesn't matter whether it's the 70s or it's 2040.
Yeah, but
There's
you're
still
like,
gonna be people
who are
like
our
that.
rock stars now? They're hip hop stars. They're pop stars. There's no rock. Who is a current literal rock star? Literal rock star, not in that metaphorical way.
Jeff Leach.
They
I don't know, man. In comedy?
Not in No. You're saying that's a metaphor. I'm saying a rock and roll star. Who is a rock and roll star? Current times.
I mean, well, they're it's probably of a different generation now.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Oh well, what about? Oh no. Even I was gonna say, bands like the Killers are still, Metallica is still, but they're from a different time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying on how you dress, but I'm just saying it's a different. It's I don't know.
I mean, I didn't realize I was gonna have an existential crisis at the end of this fucking.
It just feels. It feels like
Isn't that even more of a reason to embrace that aesthetic as something I like because it sets me apart and makes me like.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's interesting to me, and it seems Britishy to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but Brits are we're either in the fucking rock or Peaky Blinders looking, or we're in a suit going, I say I'm very British and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but you could be whatever you want, man. You could be whatever you want.
Imagine if from tomorrow onwards I just wear 3-piece suits on stage, and next time you see me, we're on the same show. You come into the fucking comedy venue, you're like, oh, who's this? And I'm on stage just going, oh my God, it's crazy. You'd fucking hate me, then. You'd look at me and go, wow, what a sellout cunt. That hack motherfucker.
I wouldn't care. I just think you would probably be real hot in the vest and the jacket and the shirt. So I'd be more concerned about, because I run hot, and I'd be concerned about you and your temperature.
Physically
hot?
Yeah,
physically.
Oh.
No, not sexually.
Did you see how happy
I was?
Yeah,
you got happy. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
If you're listening to the audio of this, you should really go to 1 hour and 6 minutes in and just see the abject misery on my face as I think I'm being paid a compliment on my looks.
No.
Realize, you're just going to be sweaty, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. That's my concern.
That's fair. That's a fair concern. No, well there you go. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's got to do it in their own unique way. It's God, I hate that we've done an hour already. I feel like we're getting into the meat and bones of it now. I'm going to have you back, and we're going to have to talk more about comedy.
I'm down.
Listen, Louie Katz performs all over the country, and obviously is at the best venues certainly I know in the West Coast and the East Coast in New York and Los Angeles. But you perform all over the country.
Yes.
You're actually going to be performing in Palm Springs, so you're going to be doing a weekend there coming up.
Yeah, I'm doing a weekend in Palm Springs next weekend, the 20th, 21st, 22nd. I'm there. I'm in Sacramento the weekend after Christmas, and then I'm in at the Punchline there, and then leading up to New Year's, 29th, 30th, and 31st, I'm at Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and also I have, you should come on mine.
Also check this, we'll do the podcast, but also make sure you check the specials that are already out as well. So he's got a comedy half hour that that came out a while ago.
Yeah, I would say the albums are better versions of that. So listen to both albums, If These Balls Could Talk, Katskillz. Please check out my...
Katskillz is with a K,
Katzkills.
Yeah.
And you mentioned my This Is Not Happening. I'm very proud of that, so please check that out. That's on YouTube. And then I have my own podcast that you should come on as well, called Roadheads. It's about traveling, and we certainly do a lot of traveling in this job, so I'd love to have you on it.
And is it specifically about the stories from the road?
It's about anything travel. It can be about anything
Okay.
travel. We've talked to.
Can I talk about almost getting killed in Lithuania?
I would love it if you would talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I do that. Man, that's one element. Sorry, because I realized we're plugging everything, and now I'm going back into chat for a sec.
That's okay.
Even though it was some of the most tiring, depressing points in my life, I'm not going to lie, I really miss road comedy.
Oh, yeah.
It cuts your teeth in a different kind of fucking way. Sitting in a car for fucking 6 hours to drive to a gig.
Yeah.
And then driving home after that gig.
Oh, yeah.
I used to buy bottles of red wine. I'd leave the gig, leave the show. I'd have my 2 free drinks, get my fucking paycheck, and then I'd get in the car and I'd drive to the nearest gas station, and I would buy 1 or 2 bottles of red wine, screw top, and I'd get in my car and I'd drive whatever it was between 2 and 6 hours home after the show and drink the bottles of wine on the way back on the freeway.
Oh my God.
Do that regularly every time I did shows.
Wow.
That was fucked up.
I'm glad you're in AA. You're fucked up.
Yeah, man. I remember getting home getting home after shows sometimes, just getting home drunk and being like, great, I'm the right level of drunk now to like just chill and like,
man,
it's
wow,
fucked up.
Wow. Well, congrats on fucking fixing that problem.
Congrats on not killing some innocent fucking family in a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, for real, man.
On the M25, yeah. But there's also something about that road comedy life that unless you've... This is another thing. Oh, fuck,
I've done road comedy. I never drank a bottle of wine in the car on the way home.
But you've been a road comic. You understand that,
sure.
like eating shitty food and getting in the car and driving for hours.
Yeah, I've definitely done all that.
Boxes of shit everywhere. And 3 Red Bulls just to try and keep awake to get home at 4 in the morning. Mm-hmm. There's something about that experience of comedy that I think makes you, to me at least, I perceive those comedians as fucking real. They're real. They were molded in the fires of hell. Their comedy is driving for 4 hours to go and perform for a load of drunk fucking bachelorette parties and shit like that. And a load of fat old white racists.
I mean, man, I've done plenty of hell gigs, and I have plenty of crazy stories. I'll have to come back because I got
please
I've done
do,
that
man.
a lot, man.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
make sure to check them out as well on social media. So what's all the social media handles if they want to find you on Instagram or Twitter?
It's Louie Katz. That's with an Louie with an S.
LOUISKATZ.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Zed. Thank you for that. And then on Instagram, it's Louie Katz Comedy because there was another Louie Katz. So follow me on all the things. I am posting now because I'm back on social media. So check it out.
You got to do it, man. Check this guy out. Listen to the albums. Make sure you check out This Is Not Happening, and make sure you follow his podcast as well, which hopefully I'll get to be on soon.
Yes.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for
having
joining me. I appreciate you, brother.
That was great.
It was good. Yeah, good chat.